Hi, it's Jernine Russell back with another episode of Purpose Personified. I am so glad to be back in my happy, safe, great place, the place that I look forward to being. And I am so excited. I'm always excited to be here, but I have an amazing, just the journey. Like I've only known her maybe 4 years or so, but in that time, this woman has just, I don't know what to say. She's just multi-talented, but she's going to introduce herself. But I'm just really honoured to have her as a guest, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Jernine. It's an honour to be here. So thank you for asking me to come. So my name is Jasneth. I'm also known as the Infinite Woman. I am a mother of 5. I'm also a grandmother. I do not look it, I know, and I'm not supposed to be, so trust me. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Well, it's for real. It's God's purpose and plan. But yes, I am also the founder of Infinite Woman, which is a ministry that educates, edifies, and equips women in Christ. And I'm an author as well, also a speaker, and some other handles. But that's just a little bit about me.
You did that small because I've seen you host. Mm-hmm. You could be you're a host, a comedian. Oh. Super funny.
Small.
My kids did not stop talking about you after the last event that you hosted for Karen.
Oh.
But I've seen your journey, and I think what's really beautiful when we become women in Christ, we become sisters just through.
For sure.
Just association. And it's like we've just been in a lot of the same rooms over the last couple of years, and we just, have bonded over lots of different things, but mainly God. And just, I love the journey. I love people's journey and the fact that we are all out here trying, and it's love. It's like, I am not in competition with anybody. I want to elevate and encourage and edify, and we have been put on this earth to help each other grow.
Absolutely.
So there's so much information and knowledge that you have and wisdom that I need imparted on me and vice versa. So
sure.
I'm just all about, just having this platform to use for God's glory. And when I see people who are doing amazing work for God, then it's a no-brainer, really. So that's kind of like the background. I'm sure you probably heard this a lots of times. I've told everybody who's watched it before, but this was something that, as I said, I don't really like all the camera stuff, but I was in my kitchen minding my own business, washing my dishes, looking out the garden. And I had that little tap that, Dad does. I don't know how he tells you to do stuff, but he grabbed my attention and said that I want you to speak to people about purpose. And I was like, me speak to people about purpose? How are we going to do that? And then he said, like, in a podcast. And as I always do, I'm like the unruly child who you ask. I know you got one of them. You ask them to do something and they give you all sort of tantrum and answer back at all. That's me to my dad. I'm really trying to work on it.
Yeah.
But I was like, how can I? What do I don't have enough. I don't have cameras. I don't have equipment. And then he said to use what you have. So I was like, okay. I pondered on it. And then like by the next day, he was like, just use your phone, use Instagram Live. This is on the back of like lockdown. So it's 2021 March.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think we were kind of in lockdown. I can't even remember properly. And got my phone and I literally held my phone for the whole of the first episode. And then my daughter was like, what are you doing? You need to get a ring light, mummy. I was like, what's a ring light? Anyway, ordered it, came, and then I used to just do it at home, just interviewing people like on Instagram Live. We did that for quite a long time, 2.5 years, maybe 3 years. And then one of my guests said, sis, like you need to do it in the studio, you need to do things and you need to elevate. Oh, okay. And then somebody messaged me to say, I've just opened a new podcast thing. And I was thinking, that's good. Sounds expensive. Anyway, I came to see it. We're in Faith. And when I went downstairs in reception, it said Purpose Studios.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, if this ain't God saying, this is where you need to be, then I don't know what it is. So came, and then that, when I saw that, I was like, okay, right. And then we just started, I think it was January 2023. We started filming in here, and I've just grown with these amazing people that work behind the scenes. So I never shout them out, but I'm going to shout them out today.
Yeah.
Big up Jermaine and Elmi. Like, Myriad Studios is just a blessing.
Honestly.
And they just allow me to be. They really just encourage and support this vision. And I'm really indebted to them, really. But yeah, that's a little bit about the background of the podcast. Wow. I should count how many guests I've had, but it's been a lot of people. But I love it. I love this space. And even though I don't like the cameras, by the time I get here, it just feels like we're having a good conversation.
Yeah,
so
it's a beautiful studio.
Yeah, it is.
The behind the scenes are wonderful, so thank you.
They are.
It's
so
very, very nice.
Little plug for them.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to get into it.
Let's go.
Justice did try to cuss me and say, he didn't send me that question. But you know what? I do say to people, and I know people from, God doesn't, I don't just say, I'm going to just call this person. God will really place it in my heart to reach out to people. And I kind of know the people who are, they don't need this. Like, they don't need a script, because I think sometimes a script can make you, it's too prescribed, and it just feels like it doesn't flow as well.
No, I'm definitely not that person.
Good.
So I'm okay.
I know you got this, girl.
And I know as well for sure what you've just said to back that up. Like, I've known you for many years, and you haven't called me once to come on. So for now, I know it's for such a time as this. So I know that it was something that you were led to do. So I get it. And yeah, I'm really excited.
Good. Well, I'm going to jump into it.
Let's go.
What was I going to... Do you know what? Before I jump into it, what I was going to quickly say was the podcast was called Purpose Driven Life. We've rebranded and renamed it as Purpose Personified. The last episode, I gave a little thing about it. So Purpose Driven Life is a book that I read a long time ago. Lots of people know about this book. Rick Warren, amazing. Definitely life-changing for me, especially the time that I read the book. So because it had such a profound effect on my life, that's why it was like an honor that I named the podcast. But one of my guests came, this is what happens when you have so much wise people on your thing, and said, look, you need to think about this, like in terms of copyright. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. When I was in my little front room, you don't think about who's watching it and whatever. But he was kind of like, I feel like he was prophesizing in where it's going. You need to make sure that you don't have any, infringements or whatever. So that's why we changed the name of it. So that was a little background. But I'm going to go back into what we are here to do, which is to ask you lots of questions about purpose.
Thank you.
Yes. So what does purpose mean to you?
Oh, you went there. So for me, I think it's changed a bit over the years. So before it was just about finding what your purpose is and things of that nature. But I've found now that for me, purpose is in the everyday. It's in, who I am. It's what I do. It filters into every avenue. So if I wasn't an author, if I wasn't a speaker, if I wasn't called to certain places, would I say that I'm not in purpose? Absolutely not. Because God has purposed us for love. He's purposed us, to spread the gospel, to preach, to share the good news. Purpose is within everything that I do. And I've also found that purpose has its seasons. So one moment my purpose might be, I'm here to serve this specific person or this ministry, and then God will interchange it to something else. So I think for me, purpose is very important, but purpose is also, it has a deeper meaning. It doesn't just mean because, for example, you have a podcast or I have a book or things of that nature that I'm in purpose. No, purpose is in the everyday. It's in who I am. It's what I do. It's where I'm going. It's how I carry myself. It's in the foundations and the principles of God's word. That is where my purpose is drawn from. The other additionals are they're additionals. But I think that we do an injustice to people when we're like, you need to find your purpose. Yeah, you do. But that's not the be all and end all.
Yes.
It's in the little things. And sometimes when you encourage people in those little things, then you see them sprout into who God has truly called them to be, because it's a journey, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
I do think so.
I
love that.
Oh, thank you.
Do you know what? Every time I do this, I keep the same questions. And I'm just in awe of how that nobody has ever described purpose the same. And I think, how is that even possible if it's a word? You know, like we go on Google and we say, what does purpose mean? And it will come up with a definition. But everybody's definition is different. And I think that's how it should be. I think, why should it just be this standard thing?
For sure.
I think it's something that it's definitely been a journey for me. I think I was on that little thing at a moment in my life where I was like, I need to find my purpose, like, but not intentionally saying that, but it was like, I don't know, I go through different seasons, and then I'm just like, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? And I think you should question.
Absolutely.
Because there are times when we're doing things and we're not in doing what we're supposed to be doing, and we're just going with the motion, and it's not, there's no direction for it. It's just, do you know what I mean? And I think I'm an evaluator. I'm always just like taking a little moment of reflection of like, you know, is this working? Is it serving? Is it like, I do it in all kind of aspects of my life. But yeah, I think purpose has been one of those things that has been a journey that's unfolded as I've gone along.
And I think it's so important to always check in. It's always good to check in with God. Like, am I on the right path?
Yes.
Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this where I'm supposed to go? And I think for me, it's bringing it back to the foundation. God, what should I wear today? What should I do? Which path should I drive today? And when you take those practices, when it comes to the huge things, you can actually trust in hearing his voice, because you've asked him in the smaller things and he will meet you in the bigger things. So I think, those things are important. You know, like how when I'm always here calling, Alexa, what's the weather today? It's how we should be calling God. God, what are you saying about today?
It's so,
do you get what I mean?
I like that analogy.
Yeah,
I don't really
sure.
like Alexa, to be fair.
No, me and Alexa are buddies. Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, we gang, definitely.
Maybe I think
she's my boo.
I don't have my own one. The kid, like my daughters, and I would never have bought it for them, because I just think this thing is at home listening to me and my business.
It's so true.
That's why I don't like it.
I think the main reason I got it, like, as we digress, but I've got a 4-story house.
Okay.
And it has this feature where I can drop into the room that it's in. So I've got one in my room. I can drop into the living room and then to the kitchen. Okay. Because I've got 3 different ones. So it's like a what would you call it? Like a
surround sound.
Yeah, but it's like a walkie-talkie, like an intercom walkie-talkie thing.
So you can talk to people. Is that what you're saying?
So I would be like, Alexa, drop into the kitchen, and if my children are up there, I can say to them, come bring me a glass of water. Do you know?
I didn't know it could do that.
Instead of me hooting and hollering and busting my throat.
Listen, don't let my kids hear this, because it's not 3 stories, but they would definitely want me to have that instead of calling them up the stairs, especially for dinner. And I think, why do I have to shout to call you for your dinner?
For sure. Even Alexa has purpose. Do you know what I mean?
I like that. I like that. I like that you've got lots of different, and I think you're very multifaceted. There are so many things, and I love that, because I think some people just think, this is me and this is where I need to stay, and they just want to stay there, where I think yours is because you've got different gifts and talents as well. I think you've been blessed, babe.
Do you know what? Can I be very honest about that? I find that difficult.
What do you find difficult?
The fact that I'm multifaceted.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because we live in a society that speaks so much about niche. And it's like, what's your niche? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I got a lot of kind of niches. Like, you know, I used to do hair, and, you know, that was making me some money for a very long time. And then God told me to transition into doing masterclasses. I'm a writer. I love to write. I do YouTube, I create content. But what I found within every single niche that I've done is there's always a root.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. I can't remember who it was because I feel so bad not to shout them out. But it was a conversation about it was Jasmine, my friend Jasmine Naomi. And we were talking about what is the root within everything that I do. And the root within everything that I do in my multifaceted way is I'm here to educate.
Mm-hmm.
So with doing hair, it's to educate. With my books, you will find there's education in it. I love to pour back in. So the core of me is a teacher. So everything that I do is educational. So even in my vlogs, even in my YouTube, I'm giving knowledge, and that's the core of it. But when people are like, "What's your niche?" I'm like, So I say now, if anyone was to ask me what my niche is or my purpose is to educate, and in educating, I have multiple things that I educate. So I found it hard, but now I'm kind of like sliding into it. And I think the person that really inspired me has got to be Tabitha Brown.
I love her.
Is when I saw how God just started to she's got a perfume line, she's got Target, she's in Target, she did hair, multifaceted, she's an actor and things of that nature. So if God can do it for her, then why can he not do it for me? So, I'm still battling.
So many things to say on that. Like, do you know what? I don't think niche is anything that God said. Sorry, because he did not create us to just be one thing and stick in one lane. Sometimes you got to turn into the slow lane. Sometimes you got to go into the middle. And there's times when you need to be in the fast lane. So I don't think that he did. And I think about I know you're much better. I remember the stories. I never remember where they are in the Bible. But when he was giving the talents and somebody buried them, there's people out there that have the same amount of talents as you who've buried them, but you've allowed instead of burying them, you're allowing them to flourish. And then what happens is he will give you more and more, isn't it?
What's so funny about that is that's the scripture that I stand on. I'm like, I'm the person with the multiple talents, the 5 talents, because it's just like, I got a lot of talents, and why should I hide them? It's true. Such a great analogy, because there was one that hid them, there was one that multiplied, and another that multiplied even more. But it's me.
It's good. It's really good. And Tabitha Brown, oh my goodness. So one of my best friends sent me something of Tabitha Brown. When did she send it to me? Maybe about 3 years ago.
Wow.
And she said, "Oh, there's this lady that I love, Jay, and she just really reminds me of you. And I just need you to see it." Yeah. And for her, she resonated because my friend's vegan, and obviously Tabitha Brown.
That's how she.
So that's how she got to know her. So I've literally been following her, and I just love her. I love her. She just comes and just brings this beautiful energy. Like it's so refreshing. For sure. Yeah, and I just there's so many facets to her. And I can really relate to her. But I love that. I love the fashion line and the kids stuff, and she does a podcast about marriage and there's just so many things. This is it. Yeah. So I hear you, girl. And that did little resonate with me. I was thinking, which one am I? Which one am I? Which one am I? The one with one that buried it? Or I think I'm getting better actually. I think there was a lot of times when I did just hide them, but I don't know. I think it's a journey, isn't it? It's it is.
Self-discovery.
And sometimes uncover it, and sometimes it's because somebody said something. And I can think of I've literally, I can't believe I'm even saying this on here.
No, go on, girl. Keep it real.
I recently joined the church choir, right? So they're just doing choir just for this conference that we've got coming up. And I used to love to sing in school. That was my thing. I've always been a bit of I love drama. A bit of when I was little, all of that kind of stuff. I didn't mind being on stage, whatever. Love books. I've always been really academic as well. So it was a bit of a balance at secondary school. I had the studies, but then I had this creative side as well. And I don't know who told me along the journey of or that my voice wasn't great. And something happened along those years, but I always sing. I sing at home all the time. I'm always singing in my car.
Me too.
And I'm not trying to listen. I am never going to lead the worship team.
Oh,
Like,
no.
I'll be very honest with you. That's just not my thing. I don't think God is calling me for that.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, I definitely don't think he's calling me for that.
Okay.
But I do like singing in the choir.
Yeah.
Like, I love to be, you know, like, no, I'm an alto. That's your note, and this is what we're going to do. I love harmonies. That's like the music that I love to sing anyway.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to do it the other day. They were asking people, and this is just people saying, volunteer, come.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And then that day in church, 3 different people who don't know me, nobody knows that I ever sang. Like, nobody knows this.
So you know that's God.
And 3 different people.
Wow.
And then I found another excuse because it was like, oh, rehearsals on Tuesday. Tuesday, I usually drop my son football training all the way in Luton. So I was like, I can't do that. Somebody went and called my husband and just said, like, would you be able to take your son for the next 4 Tuesdays? And he was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I was like, oh my gosh. So anyway, what I was trying to say, it's a something that I buried a long time ago. And recently I love it. Like, I really enjoy like the singing and like the companionship. Like, we've made this little, it's just so lovely. Anyway, so I won't be burying no talents.
Good.
Even the ones that you think they're all right, you know. And I think, you know why I think we bury our talents is because of comparison. And my favourite thing is comparison is the thief of joy.
For sure.
And I think that's why people don't continue with things, because they compare themselves to somebody else and think, well, that person is so much better than me. And it's like, okay, I'm never going to be Corinne Hawthorne, but I can just be Jernine. Do you know what I mean?
And that's all God
and that's
wants us to
okay.
be.
Yeah, definitely. So yes, no, let's not bury our talents. Let's use them
absolutely
to magnify and glorify God. And that's what I think about the fact that I'm praising God in a public way. Anyway,
through your talents. Yeah.
Whew. Anyway, the more I think about that, the more I feel petrified. But anyway,
you got this.
What would you say is your purpose?
Okay. So now, as I said, it's changed. But I would say that my purpose here is to reflect Christ, to love like Christ, to die like Christ. And I mean that in terms of like dying daily to the things that I do, because as I said, the rest of it is a bonus. I feel like I'm called to these specific areas, but most of late, I think what's been most important is, you know, how my children see me, how people around me see me, how am I where I work and things like that. And it's difficult. I'm not going to like stretching. It's pulling at things, you know, because I was from the streets, child. And sometimes people try to draw you out. Yeah. But I think most importantly, it's like, even just to think about, like, obviously, like, these are my ends. Like, this is where I grew up. Like, yeah, I will definitely, in North London is my place. But I just think most importantly, my purpose is about just working on me and ensuring that I am pleasing God in who I am and then what I do, kind of thing. So I would say that's what I think my purpose is, and then the rest of it kind of falls. It reminds me of the scripture Matthew 6:33 that says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all things will be added to you." So this is an addition, but who I am in him, how I seek him, how I try to strive to be like him, I think that's what I would say my purpose is. But I wouldn't have said this probably a couple of years ago.
What would you have said it was a couple of years ago?
It would have been like, oh yeah, I'm cool to like write books and speak and go around the world, and that's my purpose and stuff like that. But now it's like those are additions, but I don't believe that that's my core purpose.
Yeah. So he's stripping it right back to the
foundation. Yeah.
And there's a lady who
it's
joined
humbling.
me. It is.
It is very humbling.
But you know what?
And it's hard.
It sounds like there's been a journey of like submission. And like, I think we definitely submit. We submit when we are baptized and stuff like that. But I think as you grow and you grow closer to God and you're seeking him and not for your own selfish purposes. So that when you're talking about dying daily, like to your flesh, because sometimes I want to eat, I don't know, I can't think of, but just cake every day. Do you know what I mean? And then I'm think, well, actually,
Not good for you.
it's not good for me. And also I'm always moaning that this thing don't fit or whatever. So is that I need to not do that. So it's about discipline as well, I think. I think this journey of walking with God is about discipline.
And that is my word right now in the season, is discipline. So discipline to be consistent in everything that I do.
Yeah.
Beyond what everybody else sees or says. What is God asking me to do? And then being consistent in it and disciplining myself in that area. So it's about, the purpose for me is about the behind the scenes. It's about, how do I deal with my day? You know, how do I devote myself to God? How do I submit myself to God? Those type of things are where God has me right now when it comes to purpose.
I get it.
For sure.
A disciple is a disciplined one.
Very good.
And I have to just reinforce that it's so important on this journey is that you are disciplined. And I think discipline comes from our routines, like even like how you're getting up in the morning and what you're you know, how you set yourself for your day. Like, it's so deep. It's like, I'm thinking about even hair, right? So most of the time my hair is in its natural state. I gym a lot, so who's got time? Like, there'll be no gym because the hair's pressed, and I don't really want. I'd rather have the gym than have my hair pressed. So that's where I'm at the moment. But when it's in that other state, I have to like plait it in the night, and that takes discipline. Otherwise, in the morning it's gonna look a hot mess. Yeah. Even it's discipline to do this because you got to wrap it and do all of that stuff before you go to bed.
Everything is a process.
And I think, my gosh, all of it takes discipline. You know, I think being a mum takes a lot of discipline.
Oh, child.
It takes a whole lot of discipline, and I think it's really important that we instill it in our children as well. But yeah, I think, and not in the thing of like telling somebody, wow, you need to do, but just helping them. Because I think it helps them to become independent in, you know, making up your bed, brushing your teeth, having your little routine of what you kind of do, eating your breakfast, whatever. Discipline has always been something that I'm really thankful to my mum, actually. She was quite a disciplined mum. And I think, I don't struggle with it because I think I'm used to it.
Been installed.
Yeah. But there are things that we, you know, it took a lot to be disciplined to go to the gym, to be fair. It's been a journey, but I think I'm there now. Yeah. And let's hope the press ain't going to suppress the gym.
Yeah. I hope that'll be transferred to me because I had my gym stage.
Okay,
and
can I just tell you something about this journey? And a lot of it is about God. And, you know, he's given us one body. Yeah. And this body is that we need to respect and love and honour it. And I look at people around me who they have lots of ailments or they've got even a disability so that they can't do certain things, right? And this body that he gave me, and then I'm abusing it, you know? So there's that aspect of it. Lockdown, like, I've been I've been the same kind of, I've had babies, fit back in my clothes, whatever. Lockdown, I don't know what happened, but no jeans was fitting.
Oh dear. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, this is like, I'm not used to this. So although I was going to the gym before, that was another thing that motivated me. But mainly the thing that has got me locked in is how my mind feels when I train. So I realise that I'm a different person if I don't go to the gym. I become I'm more short-tempered. I just get more angry. Yeah. Honestly, like if I think when my husband and the kids see this, they're gonna be like, "Oh, Mum was really honest." But yeah, I'll be honest with you, like that is something. So when I go to the gym, it just kind of like that comes out somewhere else.
That's good.
And then helps me to be, you know, where I need to be.
Yeah.
Sure. But I do think my mental health wasn't great, like around lockdown or just, and I needed something for myself. And when I train, literally have worship music on. So people are there thinking, I don't know what they think. I've got my big headphones on. They don't know what I am listening to my worship and gospel. And sometimes it's a podcast, and I do a class as well. That really helps me to be disciplined because the class is a certain time. Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
That's what I used to do,
So then you're accountable because your other people that are in the class, like I've got a little group of some of the girls that we go gym with, and they're like, are you coming today?
Yeah.
And honestly, if I'm working, that's the only reason why I wouldn't do the class. If not, it's like it just becomes part of my day to day.
Yeah.
But I need it. I need it for my mental health. I go in the steam room, and that's my time with God. Like, we are like literally having our little catch up, and also just choosing a time of the day that you can stick to. So for me, like Mondays is my swim day, and I'm in the pool at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I'll tell you, Sunday night, I'm talking to myself, oh no, you don't need to go, like it's gonna be fine. And then I still pack the bag, and then I get up. But what I've started to do is think about the feeling I feel after. So for swimming, I love the sound of the water. I swim on my back as well as my front, but I love the sound of the water. And when I don't want to go on Sunday night, I think about that sound, and that's what motivates me. So yeah, I think the feeling I feel after I've done my class, I can't tell you. Like,
Can't explain. Yeah.
I find it just like it's a feeling that I love. So I'm chasing that feeling, and that's what keeps me going there.
So good.
But if you met me pre-kids, what do I need to go gym for? My size 8 to 10, like I don't need to go gym.
Yeah, but it's about the mind.
But it is about the mind. And it's also about, there's people in my class, we're doing like high impact circuit, and they're in their 60s and they look better than me, man. Like they are fit. And I think that's how I want to be in 20 years time. 20? Yes. I was trying to do the maths. I was like,
Quick maths.
yeah. So that's what keeps me going.
Good.
So you just, I think it's thinking about the longevity of your body. And, I read all of these things about people and like the things that we should be eating and like, like black seed oil and all of these.
It's a lot to keep up with.
There's a lot. But I think, it's about prioritizing, because there's a lot to do, isn't it?
There's a lot to do.
There is a lot to do. But I think it just helps you to feel better. And don't think of it as this goal of wanting to be this certain size, but think about, what? I want my mental health to be better.
Yeah.
And when I changed the why, that's what helped me to be
So good.
consistent. So I don't normally talk this much. So your purpose has got lots of parts to it, and it's evolved over the last couple of years. And how did you know that it was your purpose where you are now, and these loving God and the way that you're kind of, I just think you've just got a different mindset now. How did you know that that's purpose?
That's a very good question. So I think you discover it when you find that the things that you believe are your purpose in entirety doesn't fulfill you. And then it's like, okay, I've written a book. It was a high. Yeah, it was great. People bought my books and it was great. And then there's no sales.
Oh my
anymore.
gosh.
And you're like, okay, so this isn't it then. And then, lots of people start inviting you to podcasts and speaking events, and then there's a drought. And then you don't hear from anybody anymore. And, this can't be my purpose, always trying to chase. And I'm not saying I am doing that, but when they come, you're like, oh, maybe this is it, Lord. And then suddenly it just goes dry. It's like, I don't believe that this is what purpose is. I think that there's this journey that God takes you on, and every journey that he's taking you on is trying to draw out another part of you that he wants to work on.
Yeah.
So whether that might be ego, whether that might be pride, whether that might be your character, and that's why it always comes back to the foundation. Am I operating in love? Am I patient? Am I kind? Am I long suffering? And especially, child, after the heartbreak situation that I had, and I realized to myself, like I'm striving for this goal, which is, you know, to get married and all this kind of stuff. But in actuality, we got to keep, it's like I'm putting my pearls in this bag that is kind of pouring out underneath. It's not
got a hole in it.
Because that's not the be all and end all. Yes, God says that it's not good that man should be alone. Yes, God wants us to walk in our true authentic self and things of that nature, but I just feel like at the core of it, it's like, are you love? Are you patient? Are you kind? Are you the fruits of the spirit? Those foundational things are important, because those are the things that God is going to look upon when we come to heaven. Yes, he will ask you, what did you do with the things that I gave you? But I think what stands out to me more, there's a scripture that says, man looks at the outer appearance, but God looks at the heart. So if everybody's looking at my outer appearance as, oh my God, Jasneth the author, Jasneth the speaker, Jasneth the this, and then my heart is just dark and corrupt, it doesn't make sense. And you might think to yourself, oh, but how would your heart be dark and corrupt if you're, you know, striving in your purpose and stuff? There are principles that even people that don't believe in God are going to be able to strive and move forward in, because they are principles. Yeah, whether you're a believer or not, those principles are going to work. But the thing that God is looking for in us is our heart posture. How am I when the cameras fade? How am I? And please don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm a work in progress, but I know for me, those things are important, you know, because it's the integrity. It's just who I am, I think, is the purpose, and how do I reflect Christ? So I think coming to that is because when you're trying to do something and you can see that it might not be working as you think it should or what have you, you then start to realize that it's actually the core foundational stuff that is the most important purpose of all. So that's kind of how I got to that.
I made that noise because it hit me like in my soul, babe, like because I get it. I get it, like on so many levels. And I think last month I had Courtney Brown and we were talking, and he was like, oh sis, like I see another book in you. And I was like, not that it was obviously Courtney's the vessel, which I know because God has already told me and I've already started, but I do have that. I could, like, I resonated so deeply because it's like, okay, you asked me to do this thing. I did it. It came with great sacrifice as well, like on levels of time and whatever. And there is that high, because I remember that feel, like I know. And I think that's why I was encouraging you to have the book launch as well, because there's something about that high that can help you to keep going. And in that thing, and I think it's important to celebrate yourself and your achievement, because what it does is also encourage and inspire other people,
absolutely,
because there's other people would sit in that room who feels like it's achievable and tangible because they know you and you've done it. Does that make sense? So I get it on that level, and I think I'm with you on that, because I think I'm in this space and I'm sure people are like, what is wrong with her? But I think somebody asked me, was that the beginning of the year or the end of last year? I think it was like the end of the year. Like, what's your goals for 2025? And I was like, I don't really have any, which is not like, I'm like the goal setter.
Right.
That's me. Like, and it was more because I don't know. I have to submit to God and whatever he has. But I'm more like going with the flow now. Don't get me wrong, you can have goals. Like, okay, I want to I don't know, whatever it might be. I want to make sure that I go to the gym 3 times a week. That's like something that's been on my goal list for a long, long time. But then you kind of walking into it a little bit more. But even like with like work, career wise, I've just been more open and just more obedient to like, I'll be honest, the beginning of this year, I started applying for these different jobs. And I'm like, you know what? I've done this, worked in criminal justice for a long time, 20 years. I need something, not in that sector, but with the experience that I have and whatever, you know, applying for all these big jobs. Not one interview, not even an email to say, do you know what I mean? They don't even respond to say, oh, you haven't been successful. That's how they're moving now. And I'm not very good with rejection generally. So when that happens, then it takes a lot to kind of get me back up. So I hear what you said about the books, and when you have the sales and it's like this, and then I'm just like sitting in this space, well, like, how can I write another book when there's nothing that's happened with the last book, if that makes sense? So I get it. But I do also feel like I'm open to God closing the doors, that because he knows, he's already gone along. So he already knows that going to do that big job, it might have a great salary, or you might feel like this, but that's not where he wants me to be. And I have to trust that.
There's 2 things I want to tap into very quickly. The book thing, God spoke to me about my book, and I believe that, especially So You Think You're Ready to Court, is a book that is going to blow my mind in future days to come. And I'm declaring and decreeing that the right person is going to see it, and then they're going to blow that book up. But when I was doing it, you might think that that's going to happen now. But it is the obedience that is better than sacrifice. Definitely. We do not know why God told you to write the book, or told me to write this book over a year ago, and what he will do with it in 4 years' time.
That's so true.
So, you know, right now I've already written 3 books, and in the process of writing my 4th, but only 2 are published. But 1 is just sitting there in the archives. And I wrote that book before this book, but it's not the time for it to come out yet. And these are the things that why it's so important that we have to tap into God. If God is asking you to do something, and don't look at what the results are saying, because there's a reason as to why. I needed you to write this book in this time, because in the next couple of years, I'm going to have you very busy with something else. But in the 4th year, you're going to see what I'm going to do with the book that I told you to do over 4 years ago. And it's like his timing is not our time. His way is not our ways.
So true.
Second thing I want to tap into is the job ideal. I am in a job at the moment that I love very dearly. I adore my managers. It's an awesome place to be, but it's not the greatest pay, and it just about pays the bills. But God has told me that this is ministry. And I think sometimes, you know, I don't believe that God wants me to sit here and be struggling, but there are things that he's asking me to discipline myself to do, because I only work Tuesday to Friday. So I have Mondays off. Mondays is my day to tap into what I need to be doing, almost like working for myself. And if I'm not I've been blessed to have this job where I've got a day off, because I only wanted to work 3 days. But, you know, it's a blessing to have a day off. And that day off has enabled me to do things such as this. Or, you know, because, you know, I was saying to you, Mondays are my day off, child. Mondays will be great, or whatever. Or, you know, go to another place and work. Like I do something at my uni that I do, like mini lecturing for students in social work and things like that. Or go and meet my friends for coffee and just chat it up and have ministry and things like that. Or discipline myself as I did with this. And I wrote that book in 40 days. But Mondays, I can go to Costa and just bang out like 500 words every Monday. There's things that I can do. And it's like, it's seeing what God has placed you in its entirety. And giving yourself a different perspective. Like, you know, okay, this job doesn't pay the greatest. But what is it teaching me? What is God trying to pull out of me until he brings me to that next level? But more time we will be like, okay, you know, this ain't paying the bills, so I got to find another job, because we're just trying to go up. I personally don't have a a work goal. I don't want to be in work, to be honest. I want to just do my thing and
Yeah.
work for myself. I don't have a corporate ladder that I want to climb or anything along those lines. So when God places me somewhere, I know there's a reason behind it. I know there's something he's trying to do in me, or he's using me to serve a people that I'm working for. And you know, what I have noticed, as I said to you, when I discovered that I was an educator, is that what God uses me for is he uses me for startups. And there's 3 places that I have discovered this. One with another church that I had been in, and I started with them, did it for 1.5 years, and then God told me to go. I helped my friend with her children's home, started that up, go. Helped my friend with her ministry, started it up, and then left. And then with this, though the place that I work for has been running for 8 years, this actual shop that they have has only just come about. So I was the first employee to be in this shop, again, starting something up, and then probably time will come to an end, because God uses me for foundations of things. And that's why I believe that he's bringing me back to the foundations of his word. And that's why it's so important that you listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit within, because he will start to enable you to piece things together. And yes, I believe in trusting the Lord and leaning not on your own understanding, acknowledging him all your ways, and he will direct your path. Boom, I get it. But I also believe that he shows us things, he unravels things, and he unpacks things, and in that process we have to trust him, because he will show you in due course. So yeah, I think that's where it's important that you know the season that you're in, what he's asking you to do.
And I think
so
I get it. I think I just get a little bit frustrated sometimes, which I think most people
we
do.
all do.
You know,
let's not even go about frustration.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I used to have a career goal. I don't anymore. But if I see something, and normally I don't look, you know, somebody sent me one of those jobs.
Same.
That's how
this always happened with me.
That's how it started. And I'm like, oh, read the thing, and initially I was like, nah, that's not my kind of thing. Then I read it again, and I was like, oh. Then I start to question, why did she send it to me? And then it's one of like my sisters inquired, oh, maybe I don't know. Anyway, so that's kind of how that thing. I don't go and just like think, oh, I'm just gonna start looking, because although I work from home, I work and I work in the criminal justice system. But then I work a couple of days, and then I do a lot of freelancing things as well. And what I've noticed, God will just send me more work. And because we start to like, I've got all these things, the bills are going, they're getting high, boy.
And the wages ain't changing.
That's what I'm saying. Those wages are not even, I don't want to be living in this place of like, oh, this feels, if I want to go and do something, I want to do it. I don't want to be restricted. So that's kind of, I see things like that. But then then God will just say, he don't say, he just says, no, that's not where I want it to be. So I am obedient most of the time, but I think sometimes I do get frustrated and try to hurry up the process. Yeah. So, but I just think it doesn't work in your favor all the time to do that. But I'm grateful that my dad is so loving that he'll just shut it down from the like this ain't even going anywhere. I'm not even, this is not what I want you to do, and then shuts, like the barrier goes down.
So good.
Yeah. So I am grateful that he does that. So I think it's so nice to listen to somebody who is on a similar journey and has the same frustrations with I'm not upset with Dad. Like, I don't get upset with him. Like, I just think sometimes it's just that I don't understand it yet. But I get frustrated in myself sometimes, I think, or like, oh, I should be doing more, or this season of my life is probably the most, what do I call it? Not chill, but like, he's got me in a space of where I'm not rushing and doing 121 things like I normally do. He's got me in this space where it's not like that. I'm doing these things consistently, and I'm having a lot of time to just think and reflect. And this season has been like probably my best motherhood season.
No, beautiful.
very present, which previously I hadn't been. Which, not that I haven't been present, but I'm doing a lot.
Yeah.
And then that takes away from, you know, that presence in the home. So, yeah, I think I'm so, not that like motherhood is my first ministry, isn't it? Like that's so important. But I think because sometimes we want the external praise and the validation, we don't see that as how important it is. But I'm seeing, or I've known for a long time, but yeah, I'm seeing that I can be doing that lots more and don't worry about it, because that's where he wants me to be, and that's what he wants me to focus on. And yeah.
And on the flip side of that, sometimes we can also look for that validation in our children. And sometimes we're not going to get that. I remember the other day, my daughter, she don't want to kiss me goodbye. And I was really upset about it. And I said, okay. I said, self. And God said to me, you know, your love comes from me. You can't. I was really disappointed, and God was just speaking to me about me trying to get my validation from my children, because that makes me feel better. But if that's the place that she's at right now and she don't want to do it, then I can't. That doesn't mean that she loves me any less or things like that. And, you know, validation, we kind of strive for it through different places and people and views and likes and all that kind of stuff. And I'm still a work in progress, but I think, again, God is talking to me about the core of me. Where does that come from, and why do I need that validation? And then that will go back to the rejection of childhood and growing up in care and things of that nature. So it's always good to be sure that you are tapping into the voice of the Holy Spirit within, because he will tell you where that's coming from. He'll let you know why you feel you need that validation. Our only validation should come from Christ and what his word says about us. That we're the head, we're not the tail, we're above and we're not beneath, we're the lenders, we're not the borrowers. Do you get what I mean? Like, we are his, fearfully and wonderfully made. Just always tapping ourselves back into the word, because my children are not going to be able to give me what God gives me. When I get my husband, he's not going to be able to give me what God can give me. My you know, books and speaking is not going to give me what God can give me. So the only person that I can look to is him. So that when I get into these places and spaces, and they don't give me the validation that I thought it would give, or it doesn't give me this tingly feeling that I thought it would give me, whose validation is most important? It's God's.
It's so true.
You know, so.
You know what? That's what brings me here every time I do this.
So good, yeah.
Honestly, because sometimes it's not easy. When God has called you to do stuff and that other people don't get it, like...
That's why he didn't tell them, though.
I know it's not...
He didn't tell them to do it. He told you.
I know he told me.
They don't need to get it.
But I don't know how to explain it. Not that I care, because I don't really care what people think. But I do think about, is my dad pleased? Yes, he is. So I'm going to keep doing it.
There you go.
But sometimes it can be difficult, and it can, you know, you can sometimes be at loggerheads where people don't get it, or they don't see the importance of it like how you do. So yeah, it's so good. It's so good. All I can hear in my mind is, well done, you good and faithful servant. And that's literally what I want to hear my dad say to me. So those are the things, that's what really drives me. That's my why. Do you know what I mean? You've done a good job. Like, that's it. You've and it's just not easy. That's the thing. That is, like, I don't know how else to express that. But it's nice when someone else gets it.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. So, what steps would you say that you've taken to walk in your purpose?
Again, going back to this discipline word, definitely disciplining myself. As we've just tapped out of the conversation, but people's validation, that has helped me, and being accountable. So really having accountability partners that can help me along the way. So for example, right now, my aim is to upload a video on YouTube every week till the end of the year. But I'm also doing it with somebody. So whether that's speaking, whether that's vlogging or whatever it is, because I've been on YouTube for about 9 years, but the consistency wasn't there. And then you'd fall out in a season, something's happened, and it'll be so hard to come back on. But it's the consistency. So having that accountability partner is really important to help me to pursue what I believe God is asking me to do in this season. The word, I think that is so important for me to be in the word as much as I can, because that is what's going to really sustain me where I'm going. Where I feel like I want to just tap out, it's like tap into the word, because that's what's going to sustain me. And I would just say, just working on my mind, really working on doing the work on me, and being okay with saying no to some things and some people. And even when all else fails around me, that I continue to strive towards what I have, because the enemy's tactics are so boring. It's the same old thing. Every time he would use something, like my children, not saying that my children are what have you, but
no, but
something
he
would happen
can't get
with my
to
children.
you. Yeah.
Oh, and then something happens. Me and my daughter have an argument, or this, that, and the other. And I'm like, every time I am trying to strive towards something, there's something that comes out that removes your concentration from what you're doing and points you into this direction. And when it points you into that direction, it's testing your character. It's pulling you. It's drawing. It's trying to pull something out of you. And I need to use this moment to produce oil for what to pour back into what God is calling me for. And I do believe one of my favorite scriptures is I think it's Romans 8:28 that says all things work for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So when the enemy's trying to use life and circumstances or my children or things like that, it's like, okay, how is this all gonna work for my good? How do I allow this situation to work for my good? And I think those are the things that I kind of strive for, is just pushing myself towards, like, trying to turn myself back to God. So yeah, I'd say those are a few of the steps that is helping me right now.
So when you were operating in your previous purpose, what would you say is different from then to now? Is there a different, like the steps that you're taking different?
That's a good question. I definitely believe that there is a difference, but more so not even the steps. It's just my mindset. It's my thought process around it, and just removing that validation from what I do to who I am much more.
Do you know what? You just said it. It's, and I'm so glad that I kind of pressed it, because I think that is so important. And what do you think? I never asked these. I'd always stick to this thing, but I really feel like I need to dig a little bit deeper. But what is there, like a aha moment, a light bulb moment of like where you want this external validation, and now it's like, oh, I need God's approval, and I'm okay with just his. Was there something like a transition?
I'd have to bring it back to the heartbreak, child, because I just feel like, I felt like this was the person that I was supposed to be with. Many may or may not know, but I was courting someone for 4 years, and then I ended up finding out that he got married a couple months after we broke up, or a few months after we broke up. So obviously that must have been being organised way beforehand. And even with the book that I wrote, So You Think You're Ready to Court, many think that book was written because of that, but in actuality he knew that book was being written because I was quite adamant that courtship was a quite quiet time and people needed something. So I was learning, like peeling things from what I was learning about the courtship that I was in, and I told him I was going to write the book, but lo and behold, I didn't know that the relationship would end like that. But I think in that it made me see that all the goals and dreams and desires that I had are only situated in God, and that this thing that you might have been idolizing and whatever can quickly be snatched from you in the click of a finger. and you're thinking that you're going down this direction, and you think that this situation is this and that. But again, the only person that I can fall back on in that hurt and that heartbreak and pain is God, because he's the one that's going to work it all for my good. Whereas before, I think I would be like just walking towards this thing that I'm so sure about. But I feel like I tap into God a little bit more now. And it's like, oh God, is this something that you want me to do? Are you sure that you want? And then I will start to see the confirmations as I go on. So for example, a big example, this event that I'm doing coming up, I'm like, oh, again, Lord, okay, I saw how you, but this approaching it now is harder than the first one. Yes. And people are like, but how? You saw how God worked in the first one and this, that, and the other. Yeah, but there's something different. And I think there's something that God is trying to draw out of me. Like, I feel like he's very quiet now. And like, there's just something just very, but there's something he's doing. I know he's doing it, and I'm waiting to hear what he's trying to pull out of me in this season. And it might just be trust. It could be, I've done it already, so now just go and do what I've told you to do. And that's what he does,
isn't it?
And that's what he does sometimes.
He's got a track record that's impeccable.
He will hold your hands bit by bit on the first one, and then the second one, he's like, okay, you got it from here. I'm with you, but go ahead. I've got you, kind of thing. You don't need to continue to come to me every step of the way. But it's a bit like,
don't you not think it's this analogy of being a parent? It's the same thing, babes.
So I taught you, were crawling. Yeah. Now you're walking. Yeah. I need you to continue. Now I need you to run. Yeah. And it's kind of like those stages and those processes, because I'm looking at the tickets. So I was like, God, but internally he's like, you know what I can do. Why are you trying to get your validation from, the time scale of when the ticket sales are? I can mash that up in the day before. Do you get what I mean? So I feel like my trust in him is more not about what I've seen in the past, but more so about what I know who he is. So he's not a man that should lie. So if you've asked me to do this, I'm going to walk in this obedience because I know that you love me, you've called me, you've chosen me, much rather than before I'd be like, oh, but I'd have that Gideon moment. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But I feel like if I know that you're God, if I know that you are almighty, if I know that you're not a man that should lie, if I know that I can trust you, why am I doubting? Why am I questioning what you've already told me to do? Just go ahead. And if I'm going down, you'll pull me back. But you're with me. Just because you're not loud enough and whole leap, it doesn't mean that you're not with me this time. Just because I can't see what you're doing the last time and you didn't do it this time doesn't mean that you're still not there. And I think we kind of put things in what we can see much rather than what we can't see. And God is working in the background.
That's what faith is, isn't it?
He's doing something.
Yeah.
Period. So again, bringing my foundation back to the core of my foundation of my faith is just trusting God in all avenues. I hope I've answered that question. I feel like I kind of digressed.
You kind of, I think you answered the question. There was like lots of...
Those are the different examples.
It's the steps that you've taken, and you kind of touched on what's different. And it's... What I heard was that before you was doing stuff and then talking to him, but now you're talking to him and then doing it.
Yeah, in a way.
And that's what I got the main thing of. There was like many
I'm checking in more.
Yes.
Than I was before.
Yeah.
Like before it was just like, and sometimes you can see something going successfully or going at a certain rate and you're like, okay, God's in it, but is he really in it? Like, is he really, really in this? And, I just think there's something about seeing something happening in front of you and not seeing something happening in front of you. And I think it's more about me focusing on the things that I kind of like don't see happening in front of me, because that's where my faith is. So not looking at the flesh, but kind of looking at it from the spiritual perspective. And I think I would have been a bit more... I think I'd have made different choices if I had just looked at the spiritual side much rather than what I saw in the flesh. So yeah, and that's with all avenues of my life.
But that's growth, isn't it?
For sure.
I think it's good, and I think the more opportunities that he presents to us, where our trust can be built and to reinforce it, and it's like I listen to this thing, and it's like we've got all of these things in our head. Oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, and sometimes you need to just let go of those things and just hold on to God's hand, and then that actually helps us better than because if I had a walk with my friend yesterday, and she was like, did you ever think that you'd have 3 children? I said no. That weren't in my thing. It was, but it's like, here I am. I was texting someone yesterday saying, someone I haven't seen, it's like a young person I used to work with a long, long time ago, who's a grown person now, like 33 years old now. Wow. And my mind just came to him, and he was a 12-year-old boy when I first met him. And God does this sometimes. You just place people that I haven't seen or heard of in many years. And I was like, so I reached out to him, and yesterday he got back to me and he's saying, oh, your kids must be big now. And I was texting the ages, and I was like, when did this whole thing happen? Like, when did I become a mum of like an almost 18-year-old? That I just, all of the things that have happened in my life, I could not imagine them. Like, he's exceeded my expectations. And if he's exceeded these expectations, he's going to keep doing that, isn't it?
For sure.
So it's, the trust it's like a muscle. And it has to be exercised.
Exactly.
Literally. So, yeah. And I'm saying that to say that to myself as well. And I'm a person, like, God doesn't show me the mountaintop. He just shows me the steps. Whereas my husband is a person, God shows him like the big mountaintop. And I'm like, oh, you're so lucky. Like, you can see. Whereas I don't. He shares to me, do this podcast. He hasn't shown me what it's going to become. Yeah. So he just reveal. But I think it's because he knows me very well. And he knows if he showed me the mountain, I'd be so petrified that I'd probably stay at the bottom of the mountain.
Not do it, yeah.
So, and which one would you say you are?
That's a good question. I think that God gives me the steps. I think
it's a bit of both.
I think it's a bit of both. So, I think he gives me a visual of what it is, but then he does it in dribs and drabs. That's a good question. I don't know. I feel it's changed. I feel like before it was just like I had this big visual, or was it my own visual? I don't know.
We don't know.
But he definitely gives me the steps. Because because I'm an educator at heart, or a teacher, how I learn and how I grow is by giving me small steps. Yeah. So I would definitely probably say he gives me the steps. Whereas other people, they're like, God is going to do this, and God is, it's more so people will say to me that they can see that God is going to do that with me. But I know there's something that he's going to do, and I have an idea. But at the moment, I'm just kind of like moving on the steps.
Yeah, same.
That he's taking.
Same. And I'm all right with that. Like,
I feel like he's done a 360. He's turned me right back around. So as we were talking about before, about the views and the little steps and the goals of just doing it week by week and just being disciplined and consistent. Those are the things that God is working on me, because there's probably something ahead. Even when I came to this podcast this morning, I was like, Lord, why so early? And all I kept on hearing was, to whom much is given, much is required. It's like, it's like a Saturday, child. I want to lie in.
No,
but if I believe that God is gonna take me around the world and I'm going to be speaking at different places, there are certain things that are going to set you apart from other people. You're going to have to be up at 5 a.m. catching flights and doing whatever, and be in studios at 8 a.m. in the morning or be on TV at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
People want things, and then when they see it, it's so funny. I've been watching this show, Stacey Solomon and Joe.
Oh, I love her.
Oh, I love a bit of them, I do.
Oh my
And
God.
sorry, look at me
We're
putting on her
really
voice.
here. Like, she's like one of my faves, babe.
She's
Seriously.
definitely, I would say, a very big inspiration. And I've just been watching her, and I've just been thinking about everybody that does something, has something that is difficult for them. So they've got this successful, family and home and stuff, but it's a lot for them. They're juggling a lot, and they're speaking about it. So it's like, we want this thing, and then when we get it, it's like, it can be very weighty. To whom much is given, much is required.
Definitely.
So I'm trying my utmost best to like come out of the but this is what you kind of wanted.
Yes.
So this is what's happening.
Yeah, it's a preview, isn't it?
It's a preview of what's to come. So I have to be disciplined in what he's asking me to do, and trust that he's got me, as you said, it's in the training to build the muscle for what he has ahead.
Definitely.
When I need to be catching flights and going to Dubai, speaking it in the atmosphere, anyone in Dubai, holler at me. Just things of that nature.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't know what God is going to do.
It's so true.
Everything is for a greater end. So we need to just be disciplined and just keep
trust and obey.
That's it.
Final question. There are some young women, some young men sitting, maybe listening to this podcast somewhere. What advice would you give them to help them to walk or find their purpose?
Okay. So what I would say to y'all is the greatest relationship that you can have is with God. And if you do not have your foundation in God, or you do not know his principles, everything else is not going to be purposeful. Everything else is not going to be purposeful. So it's about knowing what he says about you and who you are, so that when you go into that thing that the world deems as purpose, or that thing that God asks you to do, even when you can see things around you and maybe not working the way that you think it should, or you're around certain people that, are treating you a certain way, who does God say that I am? It doesn't matter what you say I am, but what does God say that I am? And once you know that, you can walk so personified in everything that God has called you to do, purposefully and personified in everything that God has called you to do. You must have your foundation in Christ. What does he say about me? In this area of what he's calling me to do, what is my lane? How do I shed my light in this lane that could be so huge? The podcast world is so saturated,
mate,
but no one has your voice. No one does it the way that you do it. Nobody has the questions that you have. Nobody has that kind of ability to draw on people, the unlikely people that God might want you to draw on. You don't know that in what God is calling you to do and what he's asking you to do, how many people you are going to influence through that one person. So I always say to people, you're looking at the numbers. You're looking at somebody with 10,000 followers, and then you're looking at someone with 100. But in that one person that God calls you to interview, there are probably 10,000 people in that person that God is calling to influence them. And if they didn't come on your podcast, then they wouldn't be able to reach the people that they were able to reach. So it is about cutting out the noise and listening to what God says. Even if you see those 3 views and 3 likes, so what did God say? So keeping that in that foundation, because he will do what he said he will do, even when it doesn't look like what he said he would do is actually happening. And that's what I found in my relationship that I had. Like, that what he said about me with my relationship is still gonna happen, just not with him.
Yes.
So just because what's happening doesn't, just because you can't see the thing that you thought was gonna happen, doesn't mean that it's not happening. So just really tapping into God, because he's the only one that is going to give you that direction that you need. He's the only one that has the strategies, the solutions, and the systems that you will need for what he's calling you to do. So that would be a piece of advice that I would give, is just keep on seeking the voice of the Holy Spirit within, because he has something specifically for you. What he has for you
It's not for you.
is not for me.
Yeah.
And what he has for me is not for you.
Definitely.
Whether we're both doing podcasts or not. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I do. Completely.
yeah,
It's
I
very
think
good
that's
advice.
important.
Very, very good advice. And I would say that has helped me. When I started to see myself how God saw me, or sees me, should I say, mate, that's been a game changer, you know.
For sure.
That has been an absolute game changer. So thank you for that. The
most
wise
welcome.
words.
Thank you for having me.
It's been, I always come with here and then I'm just like, God just comes to use people as a vessel. Yes, it's for everybody, but I feel like there's stuff that you came to tell me. And I'm always really grateful. I always find this space. I always feel, there's an immense feeling of gratitude when I sit here. I just thank you for getting up early this morning.
I'm so honoured to be here. Thank you for having me.
And I think it's a kickstart of the day. And also, I just believe that God is doing some work behind the scenes, like how you were taking the videos behind it. He's doing some work behind the scenes. And I feel like he does align people for a reason. And I think that many people are going to be blessed by the events that you do and just the way that you speak really openly and honestly about things. And literally, and not even, it's a plug, but it's not a plug, but without shame. Because I think there's a lot of people that operate from a place of shame.
Yeah.
And I just think it's really nice to hear somebody helping people to remove or to learn how to remove those barriers of shame.
For sure.
Because shame can paralyze us. I think, I don't know if I could have. I remember listening to your YouTube after the heartbreak, and I don't know if I could have shared that story, honestly. Like, I'm sure a lot of people have said the same thing.
Yeah.
But it was just like, wow. But I feel like it's a form of therapy anyway, when you kind of like
It is, yeah.
release it. But also,
it also does make you relive it as well, though. And that's where the grace of God steps in. And just holds
and that's
you up.
why this podcast will never be about, whatever people want to share. But I'm never going to be asking you what happened, what was I am not, your life is not a movie for my entertainment or for other people's entertainment.
It's good, yeah.
This is we honor people and we listen and we encourage and we just want to build people for the kingdom. This is all about Dad's kingdom, and we are all pieces of the puzzle to make the kingdom great. Do you know what I mean? So
sure.
I just want you to keep being great, babes.
Thank you. I will do. I appreciate you. And thank you.
No problem.
Thank you so much for having me.
We've done it again. Another episode finished. Thank you so much to Jasneth. Thank you for listening. Please like, share and subscribe. And just be blessed. Thanks again.